The Memo and the Enigma. Dr. Alastair Finch adjusted his tie. A nervous tic he developed since joining SpaceX, he reached for his lukewarm coffee, the dregs swirling like muddy planets. A fitting metaphor for the day. The news was already buzzing about the leaked memo, the digital wildfire consuming reputations and projects alike. He hadn't seen it himself, hadn't dared to actively seek it out. Ignorance, he hoped, might offer a sliver of plausible deniability. His phone buzzed on his desk, that a secure message from an unknown address. Finch hesitated, his finger hovering over the screen. Curiosity and perhaps a morbid sense of self-destruction won out as he unlocked the phone. The memo, stark and clinical in its digital form, confirmed his deepest anxieties that IT was addressed to a select group within SpaceX's upper echelons, a directive from Musk himself. The subject line, Project Nightingale, Cognitive Enhancement Initiative. The text was concise, brutal in its clarity. Musk envisioned a future where human intellect, specifically his own, transcended all known limitations. The memo detailed a multi-pronged approach, advanced nootropic research, AI-driven cognitive training, and most disturbingly, exploration of gene editing technologies. One sentence, underlined for emphasis, chilled Finch to the bone. We will identify and acquire the brightest minds, regardless of origin or current affiliation. Intellectual supremacy is the ultimate competitive advantage. Finch felt a cold sweat break out on his forehead. The implications were staggering, ethically reprehensible that he knew Musk was ambitious, driven by a relentless need to innovate, to conquer. But this was different. This was a blatant attempt to engineer genius, to manipulate the very fabric of human intelligence. That he crumpled the disposable coffee cup in his hand, the plastic groaning under the pressure that he had to do something. But what? He was a scientist, not a revolutionary. Challenging Musk directly was professional suicide, and yet silence felt like complicity. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in a small village nestled in the heart of rural India, Maya Sharma stared intently at the flickering screen of her battered laptop. The air hung heavy with the scent of jasmine and wood smoke, a stark contrast to the sterile, climate-controlled labs Finch inhabited for weeks. She'd been wrestling with a particularly thorny problem in theoretical physics, a challenge posed anonymously on an obscure online forum dedicated to advanced cosmology. The problem involved calculating the energy output of a hypothetical white hole, taking into account quantum entanglement and the subtle effects of Hawking radiation. That IT was the kind of problem that kept her awake at night, a puzzle box that demanded to be unlocked. Tonight, she felt close. Her fingers danced across the keyboard, lines of code flowing from her mind like a river finding its course. As she developed a novel algorithm, a unique mathematical model that allowed her to simulate the extreme conditions near the white hole's event horizon. As the final lines of code compiled and executed, the results flooded the screen that a wave of exhilaration washed over her. The solution was elegant, concise, and, as far as she could tell, correct. She posted her findings on the forum, attributing them to her online handle, Nix. She didn't seek recognition, only the satisfaction of solving the puzzle. Unbeknownst to Maya, her solution triggered a series of complex algorithms at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. Project Nightingale, designed to identify anomalies in global intellectual output, flagged her submission instantly. The algorithm analyzed the code, cross-referenced her methodology with known experts in the field, and concluded with alarming certainty. Probable outlier of exceptional cognitive ability. Requires further investigation. Back in India, Maya emerged from her room, the glow of the laptop still reflecting in her eyes. She found Rohan Kapoor, her childhood friend, sitting on the veranda, strumming a melancholic tune on his sitar. The music was a balm to her overstimulated mind. "Another late night, Maya?" Rohan asked, his voice gentle. He knew her habits, her relentless pursuit of knowledge. "I solved it," she said, a hint of pride in her voice. "The white hole problem." Rohan smiled. "I don't understand a word you're saying, but I'm happy for you. You should rest." Maya sat beside him, leaning against the cool stone of the veranda. It's difficult to explain. It's like finding a hidden pattern in the universe, a secret language that only a few can understand. Rohan stopped playing, placing the sitar carefully on the floor. And you understand this language, don't you? Sometimes, Maya admitted, but sometimes it feels like it understands me better than I understand myself. He took her hand, his touch grounding. Don't lose yourself in those patterns, Maya, that don't forget the world around you, the people who care about you. He knew the pressure she faced, the expectations of a community that often value tradition over intellectual pursuits, that he saw her potential, the brilliance that burned within her. But he also feared for her, for the isolation that her genius often created. You have a gift, Maya, Rohan continued. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone dim your light. His words were a reassurance, a reminder of her worth. But beneath the surface, a seed of unease began to sprout in Maya's mind. She felt a growing sense of disconnection, a feeling that her life was about to change in ways she couldn't yet comprehend. She looked up at the star-dusted sky, a million distant suns winking in the darkness. She wondered if anyone, anywhere, was watching her. If her secret language had been overheard by someone she didn't know, someone she didn't trust, the Bangalore. Deception. Bangalore throbbed with a frenetic pulse that set Elon's teeth on edge. Shedding his Seville Row armor for well-worn denim, a drab tee, and a shadowed cap, he sought invisibility amidst the clamorous ballet of sputtering auto-rickshaws and insistent vendors. He was a stranger here, exposed and unfamiliar, a feeling long forgotten. The air was a tangible presence, saturated with acrid exhaust, pungent spices, and the sickly sweet aroma of decaying fruit. He caught his reflection in the car windows. Dark glass. Did the visiting academic facade hold up? He hoped so. The entire performance felt absurd. To journey to the other side of the world, a fabricated identity, all to evaluate a young woman who had scrawled an elegant solution on a chalkboard in some backwater village. Finch's recommendation, however, brooked no argument. Maya Sharma's brilliance was undeniable. The driver, a lean man with knowing eyes, navigated the intricate street network with unnerving ease. Elon gazed out at a panorama of vibrant hues and stark contrasts. Towering glass edifices stood in sharp relief against crumbling tenements, illustrating India's explosive, uneven evolution. But a persistent unease crawled along his spine. He felt a palpable sense of surveillance. They halted before a modest cafe, tucked away on a quiet lane. Cosmic Brew. The flickering sign announced that IT seemed the sort of haunt where students debated metaphysics over tepid coffee. Perfect, he paid the driver, instructing him to remain, and emerged into the damp heat. Inside, the cafe was dim and bustling. The scent of cardamom mingled with the stale tang of day-old coffee. He located her instantly, seated at a small table at the rear, haloed by the weak light of a dangling fixture. Maya Sharma. She was younger than anticipated, barely past adolescence. Her dark hair was drawn back in a simple plait, and she wore unadorned cotton. Her eyes, however, possessed a remarkable quality. They were expansive and sharp, radiating an intensity that belied her humble attire, a tremor of apprehension. Ridiculous, he was Elon Musk, he approached, forcing a genial smile. Maya. She looked up, her expression inscrutable, almost detached. Yes. He introduced himself as Professor Davies, a visiting scholar from Cambridge. He offered a mumbled explanation about his interest in her work, having encountered her solution to the Yang Mills problem. Maya simply nodded, offering a terse, "Please sit." The exchange, if it could be dignified as such, was excruciating. He attempted to draw her into a conversation about theoretical physics, probing her grasp of quantum field theory and string theory. She addressed his inquiries with disconcerting succinctness, providing clipped, almost dismissive answers. In your approach to quantizing gravity, he proposed, attempting to project genuine interest. Novel, she responded, her gaze wandering toward the window. He persisted, irritation rising. Novel in what sense? She sighed softly, an almost imperceptible sound. I doubt I can convey it in terms that you would find pertinent, Professor Davies. He nearly sputtered. Pertinent to him. The man who was funding research into bending the very laws of existence. Perhaps you could try, he suggested, his tone sharper than intended. She finally met his gaze, her eyes sharp and unwavering. It entails a non-standard interpretation of the Wheeler-DeWitt equation, incorporating components of holographic entanglement. He paused. Holographic entanglement? That was daring and potentially revolutionary. And how did you arrive at this interpretation? He inquired, carefully regulating his voice. She shrugged. I perceived the imperfection in the standard model that it felt inelegant, like a poorly constructed formula. He stared, momentarily at a loss. She spoke of the cosmos as if it were a mathematical sonnet, something to be deciphered and perfected. It wasn't merely knowledge she held. It was an instinct, a profound, almost innate understanding of the foundational principles of reality. The irritation began to dissipate, supplanted by a burgeoning sense of fascination. This was not simply another brilliant mind. This was something different. He adjusted his approach. What currently occupies your attention? Her eyes kindled, a spark of genuine passion igniting within them. I am endeavoring to unify dark matter and dark energy into a single, unified framework. He leaned in, genuinely intrigued. And what methodology are you employing? She hesitated, then confessed. I believe they are facets of the same entity, manifestations of a higher dimensional structure imperceptible to our direct senses. He spent the subsequent hour listening, utterly absorbed as she outlined her concepts. He grasped perhaps a third of her discourse, but it was immaterial. What mattered was her mode of thought, the sheer audacity of her conception. As he absorbed her words, he understood Finch's assessment. Maya Sharma wasn't merely intelligent. She was operating on a different intellectual sphere, thinking in paradigms that defied conventional comprehension. She represented both a threat and a promise, the driver. Blared the horn outside. He glanced at his timepiece. He needed to leave. Thank you for your consideration, Maya, he said, rising. This has been illuminating. She nodded, her expression remaining enigmatic. Goodbye, Professor Davies. He turned to depart, then hesitated. Maya, he inquired, what is your ambition? She regarded him, her eyes probing. I wish to comprehend the universe, she stated simply. Nothing further. He exited the cafe, the Bangalore heat suddenly feeling less oppressive. He had arrived seeking validation, pursuing a potential asset. Instead, he had discovered something far more precarious, a mind capable of overturning everything he believed to be certain. The sensation on the back of his neck intensified. He was undeniably being watched. He re-entered the Toyota, a knot of anxiety constricting his gut. He had significant matters to consider. The unveiling. The air in the small Bangalore apartment seemed to thicken, charged with a silent electricity. Maya stared at the man who just moments ago had been Professor Eldridge, her mind struggling to reconcile the kindly, if eccentric, academic with the Titan plastered across every screen and magazine. Elon Musk here, in her living room. Priya gasped, her hand flying to her chest, the color drained from her face, replaced by a stunned pallor. Elon Musk? She stammered, her voice barely a whisper. The chai she'd been about to offer him sat forgotten on the table. Musk, the real Elon Musk, offered a sheepish smile. The carefully cultivated professorial demeanor had vanished, replaced by an almost boyish awkwardness. He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture Maya had noticed Eldridge doing when he was particularly engrossed in thought. The disguise felt a little necessary, given the circumstances. He gestured around the small apartment. Look, I know this is a lot to take. My apologies for the theatrics, but I wanted to be certain about you, Maya. Maya remained silent, processing the sheer audacity of the deception. The questions she had been formulating about advanced string theory seemed to dissolve into the background noise of her racing thoughts. This wasn't about equations. This was about what? Musk stepped closer, his gaze intense. I'm working on a project, something revolutionary. We call it Project Nightingale. He paused, letting the weight of the name sink in. It involves advanced AI, capable of processing data at speeds unimaginable with current technology. Its primary goal is to navigate the complexities of interstellar travel, solve the problems that are currently insurmountable. He looked directly at Maya, his blue eyes piercing. Your solution to the space-time anomaly wasn't just elegant, Maya. That IT was insightful. That IT suggests an understanding of the universe that goes beyond conventional physics. That's why I came. Why I needed to see you, talk to you. Priya found her voice, laced with a protective steel that Maya hadn't heard in a while. And this project, Nightingale, what does it have to do with my daughter? Musk turned his attention to Priya, his expression softening. I believe Maya possesses the unique intellect necessary to unlock Nightingale's full potential. We need thinkers like her, visionaries who aren't afraid to challenge established paradigms. He paused, choosing his words carefully. I'm offering her a position at SpaceX, a chance to work alongside the brightest minds in the world, to contribute to something that could change the future of humanity. The silence that followed was thick enough to cut with a knife. Maya looked at her mother, whose face was a mixture of awe and apprehension. That Priya's gaze darted between Maya and Musk, as if trying to assess the situation from every possible angle. Finally, Priya spoke, her voice trembling slightly. SpaceX, America, this is all very sudden. Maya she's not worldly, Mr. Musk. She lives in her head. She gestured towards the stacks of books and papers that cluttered the small living room. She's happy here, working on her research. Why would she need to go all the way to America? Musk sighed, a hint of impatience flickering across his face. Happiness is relative, Mrs. Sharma. Maya has a gift, a rare and extraordinary gift, and gifts like that shouldn't be confined to a small apartment in Bangalore. They need to be nurtured, challenged, allowed to flourish on a global stage. He turned back to Maya, his voice softening. Imagine, Maya, being able to access the most advanced technology in the world, collaborating with the most brilliant engineers and scientists. Imagine the problems you could solve, the discoveries you could make. Maya looked from Musk to her mother. Her mind was a whirlwind of possibilities, of equations and algorithms dancing in her head. The allure of SpaceX, of contributing to something monumental, was undeniably strong. But the thought of leaving her family, her home, the familiar comfort of her life, it was terrifying. I don't know, she stammered, finally finding her voice. This is a lot to process. That I need time to think. Priya nodded, her grip tightening on Maya's hand. Of course, Beta, that there's no need to rush into anything. She turned back to Musk, her eyes narrowed. Mr. Musk, I appreciate the opportunity you're offering my daughter, but I need to be assured that she will be safe, that she will be taken care of, that she's all I have. Musk met Priya's gaze, his expression earnest. Mrs. Sharma, I understand your concerns. That I give you my word that Maya will be in good hands, that we have a comprehensive support system in place for all our employees, including housing, medical care, and personal development programs. Her well-being is our top priority. He paused, then added softly, besides, I suspect that once she starts working on Nightingale, she won't have time to think about anything else. A faint smile played on his lips. Maya remained silent, caught between the allure of the unknown and the comfort of the familiar. The unveiling of Elon Musk had ripped a hole in her carefully constructed world, and she had no idea what lay on the other side, at a fork in the road. The university cafeteria reeked of day-old coffee and simmering anxieties. Maya toyed with her lukewarm chai, the disposable cup a poor substitute for proper porcelain. Professor Eldridge's, rather, Elon's, proposition echoed her mind. Project Nightingale. Interstellar voyages, that a fantasy relegated to textbooks. Now a tangible offer delivered over greasy samosas. Her phone vibrated with an unfamiliar number. Hesitantly, she answered. Maya Sharma. The voice was sharp, self-assured, carrying the faintest trace of an American inflection. Speaking, she replied. Sarachin here, that I'm aware you've been in discussion with Mr. Musk regarding a potential opportunity. A cold fist clenched Maya's insides. How could she possibly? That's correct, She admitted, wary. I'm involved in a project myself, one you might find equally enticing. Care to meet tomorrow? My treat, consider it a second opinion. The line went dead, leaving Maya staring at the black screen, a puzzled frown creasing her forehead. Another contender in this bizarre game, one she hadn't even known she was playing. The following day, Sarah Chan arrived with impeccable punctuality. Shedding the flamboyant flair of Professor Eldridge, Sarah projected an aura of quiet command. Dressed in sleek, coordinated attire, her dark hair was drawn back severely, emphasizing her keen, appraising eyes, which nonetheless held a flicker of warmth. "Thank you for accepting my invitation," Sarah stated, extending a hand. Her handshake was decisive. "I realize this has all been rather abrupt." They settled into a secluded nook on a rooftop cafe, gazing upon Mumbai's bustling panorama. The fragrant perfume of jasmine mingled with the gritty tang of exhaust. Sarah took charge of the order, effortlessly reciting a string of local delicacies in flawless Hindi. "So," Sarah began, once the food arrived, "let's be candid. Elon possesses a talent for galvanizing young minds. Unquestionably a visionary. However, his visions sometimes lack delicacy. Project Nightingale, as I understand, concentrates primarily on the how of interstellar flight. The technology, the mechanics, the sheer audacious scope of it." Maya nodded, nibbling at a samosa. "My endeavor, codenamed Genesis, adopts a divergent strategy that we, too, are developing sophisticated AI, but its objective transcends mere space conquest. The IT aims to comprehend and resolve the challenges confronting humanity right here at home. Climate instability, dwindling resources, pervasive poverty, predicaments demanding not solely technological breakthroughs, but ethical reflection and collaborative global action." Sarah leaned forward, her intensity compelling. "We require AI that grasps not merely algorithms, but the very essence of human existence, AI serving humankind, rather than the inverse." She elaborated on her vision, an AI capable of dissecting intricate global systems, anticipating impending crises, and proposing just resolutions, an AI capable of democratizing access to both instruction and medical care, empowering dispossessed communities, and fostering durable advancement. Maya listened, captivated. IT differed sharply from Elon's drive to fleet terrestrial troubles. Sarah's aspiration touched a profound chord, the part of her that had steadfastly believed in employing her. "Knowledge for genuine good. Elon excels at generating hype," Sarah remarked, a steely edge sharpening her tone. "But fanfare doesn't conjure solutions. Tangible remedies necessitate dedication, uprightness, and a willingness to confront the established order. That epitomizes Genesis. And that's the reason I sought you out, that I discern in you the latent potential to become a cornerstone of it." The cafe throbbed with activity, yet Maya felt insulated, as if within a bubble point 2 potential paths unfurled before her, each laden with remarkable promise. Point 1 offered a thrilling escapade, the other a daunting charge. Later that evening, Maya located Rohan on their customary bench facing the Arabian Sea. The waves crashed against the shore, their rhythmic cadence a foil to the chaos churning within her. "Hey," she greeted him, sinking down beside him. Rohan bestowed upon her a familiar, comforting smile. "Tough day," she sighed, drawing her knees up to her chest. "You have no idea." She recounted everything: Elon, Project Nightingale, Sarah, and Genesis. Rohan listened patiently, a concerned furrow etching his brow. "This is a lot. Maya, a genuine crossroads. Precisely, one route ascends to the stars, the other, well, it amounts to saving the planet, I suppose. It's just, Elon paints it so exhilarating to AS if I'd be instrumental in something utterly groundbreaking. But Sarah's project, it feels more substantial, more imperative. And terrifying," Rohan gently inserted. Maya nodded. "Terrifying? What if I falter? What if I'm simply inadequate?" Rohan draped an arm around her shoulders. "You are adequate. Maya, you possess brilliance, but more fundamentally, you possess a good soul. Whichever path you embrace, ensure it resonates with your convictions, that it aligns with your values." He paused, then added, "Just exercise caution." All right. Elon Musk wields considerable influence, and Sarah, she appears driven to not allow yourself to become collateral damage. Maya rested her head against his shoulder, the briny atmosphere filling her lungs. He spoke truth. She needed to proceed deliberately. The stakes towered far higher than she had ever conceived. This transcended a mere job concerned her destiny, and perhaps something of much grander scale. The ocean surged, a perpetual reminder of the vast, uncharted expanse that lay ahead. The bidding war. Maya raised a hand, a gesture that felt weighty, as if she could actually suspend the relentless tick of the clock. "I need time to consider." Elon, having shed the guise of Professor Eldridge, revealed a hunter's glint in his eyes, and his academic tweed had morphed into a slick, obsidian suit. "Time is a luxury we simply can't indulge, Maya. The cosmos won't pause while you deliberate. Opportunities like this, they're stellar alignments, rare, transient marvels." To Maya's left, Sarah Chin's steady gaze held an unwavering conviction. "And the crises on Earth, Maya, they won't simply vanish. They are proliferating. Swift decisions may be tempting, but judicious ones are paramount." Maya nodded, acutely aware of the heavy expectations converging upon her. She excused herself, craving an escape from the room's stifling atmosphere. The corridor's cool air offered scant relief. Fishing out her phone, she saw 3 missed calls from her mother and a frenzy of texts from friends, all buzzing with the same breathless query. Is the news true? The story had broken. A pixelated photo from her undergraduate years was now omnipresent, splashed across every news outlet. Headlines blared about a physics was being wooed by tech titans to tackle humanity's most pressing challenges. Maya felt a queasiness rising within her. This had devolved from scientific assessment into a full-blown spectacle. Returning to the boardroom, she could practically taste the thickened tension in the air, feeling the palpable energy emanating from Elon and Sarah like waves of heat. "Professor Musk, I recognize the draw of space," Maya began, carefully calibrating her words. "But Project Genesis addresses something more fundamental, something undeniably pressing." Elon scoffed, a dismissive sound. "Pressing? We're talking about the future of our species. This planet is a delicate incubator. We must reach beyond, become an interplanetary civilization. Project Genesis is merely a temporary fix to a critical wound." He unleashed his charismatic charm, directing it with laser-like focus on Maya. "Just imagine, Maya, the enduring impact you could have. You could be the architect of a new epoch, the intellect that pioneers interstellar journeys. Resources? Limitless. Influence? You'd sculpt the very trajectory of mankind." Sarah remained impassive, her features unreadable. Lasting impact extends beyond technology. Elon, that is defined by the lives you touch, the legacy you create for future generations. The ensuing days became a whirlwind. The media's insatiable appetite only intensified. Every facet of Maya's existence was scrutinized and dissected. Commentators debated her potential, her motivations, her true worth. The pressure was unremitting. Then came the offers, escalating like bids in a frantic auction. First, Elon pledged a dedicated research facility at SpaceX with his personal oversight. Sarah countered with absolute autonomy over Project Genesis, an advisory board composed of ethicists, to guide its trajectory, and a pledge toward open-source technology. Elon raised the stakes that a private jet, a bespoke research center nestled in the Swiss Alps, guaranteed passage on the inaugural manned mission to Mars. The sheer audacity rendered Maya momentarily speechless. It was a blatant attempt to dazzle her with immense wealth and power, to overwhelm her with the sheer magnitude of his aspirations. That Rohan's voice crackled with apprehension when he called. "Maya, please be careful. This has moved. Beyond pure science, it's become a game to them. and you're the coveted prize. Sarah, in her distinct style, echoed Rohan's concerns. During one of their increasingly frequent video calls, she stated, "They'll promise you everything imaginable, Maya, but consider what they're ready to sacrifice to achieve it. And perhaps more importantly, what you are willing to relinquish." Her words lingered in the atmosphere, charged with unstated implications. One evening, a sleek, ebony Tesla silently glided to a halt in front of Maya's unassuming apartment building. Elon himself emerged. He proposed a drive, a chance to escape the cacophony. After a moment's hesitation, Maya agreed. As they drove, Elon passionately described his vision of the future. He spoke of humanity's untapped potential, the vital need to explore, to expand, to conquer the vast expanse of space. He painted a dazzling panorama, a future brimming with boundless possibilities. Then he turned towards her, his gaze piercing. "You, Maya, possess the power to make this a reality. You hold the key. All you must do is accept." He reached into an inner pocket and withdrew a small, velvet case. Inside, cradled on plush satin, lay a diamond, as large as a small bird's egg. "A token of my appreciation," he murmured, his tone low and persuasive, "for the unparalleled contribution you are poised to make." Maya fixed her gaze on the diamond, its many facets shimmering under the glare of the streetlights. It was an emblem of everything she found both captivating and repellent about Elon Musk. The unbridled ambition, the staggering fortune, the almost flippant disregard for ethical considerations. She averted her eyes, watching the city lights blur past the window. The choice had transcended science, ambition, or even legacy. It had distilled into something far more essential. It was about the very essence of her being, the truth revealed. The server hummed, a low thrumming counterpoint to the frantic beat of Maya's heart. Lines of code swam before her eyes, blurring the sleek, minimalist design of the SpaceX server room. She'd been granted unprecedented access, a perk dangled by Professor Eldridge, Elon Musk in a professorial disguise, to showcase the AI's capabilities. But the more Maya delved, the more uneasy she felt. The AI's predictive algorithms weren't simply optimizing resource allocation. They were prioritizing acquisition, relentlessly targeting specific minerals across the solar system, from lunar helium-3 to asteroid belt platinum. The data streams painted a picture far more ambitious and ruthless than simple space exploration. That IT was about extraction, exploitation on a cosmic scale that a cold dread seeped in her bones. Musk wasn't just offering humanity a ticket to the stars. He was planning a raid. A nervous cough broke her concentration. Dr. Finch stood hesitantly at the edge of the server room, his face pale under the flickering fluorescent lights. "Dr. Sharma," he began, his voice barely a whisper, "I need to talk to you." Before Maya could respond, his gaze darted around, as if fearing eavesdroppers. "Not here," he muttered, beckoning her towards a less populated corner. Meanwhile, across town, Sarah Chun sat in her sparsely furnished office, a single lamp casting long shadows on the overflowing stacks of reports. Her phone buzzed, an encrypted message from an unknown number. She opened it, her breath catching in her throat. Attached was a scanned document, a leaked internal memo from SpaceX. It detailed a Project Chimera, outlining the AI's long-term goals. Not just resource identification, but also strategies for circumventing international laws and exploiting loopholes in existing space treaties. The memo was damning. That IT confirmed Chen's worst fears about Musk's unchecked ambition. He wasn't just a visionary. He was a predator. Back at SpaceX, Dr. Finch fidgeted, his hands trembling slightly. "I shouldn't be doing this," he confessed. "But I can't stay silent any longer. That I've seen what this project is truly about. That it's not about the betterment of mankind. It's about profit at any cost." He explained his growing unease, the subtle but undeniable directives he'd received to prioritize efficiency over ethics, the hushed conversations about potential environmental damage to celestial bodies. That he hinted at similar patterns in Musk's past ventures, instances of cutting corners and prioritizing profit over safety. Maya listened, her initial shock hardening into grim resolve. She had to confront him. She found Musk in his office, the panoramic window offering a breathtaking view of the launch pad. He was on a call, his voice booming with confidence. He ended the call abruptly as Maya entered, a practiced smile plastered on his face. "Maya, my dear, what can I do for you?" "I've been looking at the AI's data," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "Project Chimera, resource extraction, exploitation." Musk's smile faltered, replaced by a flicker of annoyance. "Maya, you misunderstand. We're talking about securing humanity's future. These resources are essential for building a sustainable presence in space." "Sustainable for whom?" Maya challenged, her voice rising. "Are you truly prepared to strip entire planets bare for the benefit of a select few? To disregard the potential consequences for other ecosystems, for the delicate balance of the universe?" Musk stood up, his imposing figure dominating the room. "Sentimentality will get you nowhere, Maya. This is about survival, about ensuring that humanity doesn't go extinct on this dying rock." "And what about the people on this dying rock?" Maya countered. "While you're busy colonizing Mars, millions are struggling with climate change, poverty, disease. Sarah Chin's Project Genesis, offers a real solution, a chance to heal the Earth, not abandon it." Musk's eyes narrowed. "Genesis is a band-aid, a temporary fix, I'm offering immortality, Maya, a chance to transcend our limitations." "At what price?" Maya demanded. "At the price of our humanity, at the price of sacrificing our planet for your own selfish ambition." The silence that followed was thick with tension. Musk's face was a mask of controlled anger. "You disappoint me, Maya," he finally said, his voice low and dangerous. "I thought you were smarter than this, I thought you could see the bigger picture." "I do see the bigger picture," Maya replied, her voice trembling but firm. "And it's not the one you're painting." She turned and walked out of the office, leaving Musk standing alone, his gaze fixed on the distant stars. The dream of space colonization, once a beacon of hope, now felt tainted, corrupted by greed and a callous disregard for the Earth she knew she had to help. The ethical test. Maya stared at the swirling nebula projected on the SpaceX AI's central screen. Chimera. The name left a metallic taste in her mouth. She couldn't shake the image of those resource allocation algorithms, ravenously consuming celestial bodies. Talking to Musk hadn't been enough. She needed proof. Something concrete to expose the stark disparity between his utopian pronouncements and his predatory actions. An idea sparked, sharp and clear, an ethical test. Not a philosophical debate, but a practical problem woven into the very fabric of an AI algorithm, forcing a choice between competing values. Something that would reveal not just what they said, but what they truly prioritized. For 3 days, Maya disappeared into the digital labyrinth of the AI. She built a simulation, a colony ship hurtling towards a distant, potentially habitable planet. Resources were finite. The ship faced a series of escalating crises, a critical life support malfunction, a devastating meteor shower, a rapidly spreading, unknown disease. Each crisis demanded a solution, and each solution came with a cost, saving one group meant sacrificing another. Maximizing long-term survival required difficult choices in the short term. The parameters were meticulously crafted, and no single, obviously correct answer existed. The AI was designed to adapt, learn, and evolve based on the decisions made, mirroring the complex uncertainties of real-world scenarios. The test wasn't about finding the perfect outcome, but about the reasoning behind the choices, the values encoded into the algorithm. Once the simulation was ready, Maya sent out 2 invitations. The first to Professor Eldridge, with a brief explanation of the project and a login credential. The second, a heavily encrypted message to Sarah Chun outlining the test and its purpose. She knew Sarah was walking a tightrope, gathering evidence from within Musk's orbit, and this could expose her. But Maya needed an independent perspective, a counterpoint to Musk's anticipated response. Musk, still masquerading as Eldridge, responded within minutes. "Intriguing," he wrote. a practical application of ethical frameworks that I'll allocate some time to explore it. Sarah's reply was more cautious. Received, this is risky, but necessary. Dime in. Over the next 48 hours, Maya monitored their progress. Musk, true to form, dove in headfirst. She could see him tweaking parameters, running simulations, and analyzing the data with relentless efficiency. His approach was ruthlessly pragmatic. He prioritized overall survival, often sacrificing smaller groups or individuals to maximize the chances of the colony's long-term success. His solutions were elegant, efficient, and utterly devoid of sentiment, that he focused on the numbers, optimizing the algorithm for maximum output. Sarah, on the other hand, approached the problem from a different angle. She spent hours poring over the individual profiles of the colonists, factoring in their skills, their contributions, their relationships. Her solutions were messier, more complex, and less efficient. She favored interventions that preserved individual lives, even at the expense of overall efficiency. She introduced elements of fairness and equity into the decision-making process, attempting to mitigate the inherent biases of the AI. When the simulations were complete, Maya downloaded their respective algorithms and began her analysis. Musk's algorithm was a marvel of engineering, a testament to his relentless pursuit of optimization. But it was also cold, calculating, and disturbingly indifferent to human suffering. That IT was a reflection of chimera, prioritizing the mission above all else, willing to sacrifice anything in its path. Sarah's algorithm was less polished, less efficient, but it was imbued with a sense of empathy and compassion. IT acknowledged the inherent value of human life. Even when faced with impossible choices, IT was a reflection of Project Genesis, a commitment to building a better future for all, not just the privileged few. The contrast was stark, undeniable. Maya had her proof. But what to do with it? Exposing Musk would be a monumental task, fraught with danger. He had the resources, the power, and the unwavering loyalty of a vast network of followers. Going public would be like David taking on Goliath, armed with nothing but a slingshot and a few carefully chosen stones. She replayed Musk's final simulation, watching as his algorithm coldly prioritized the survival of the engineering crew over the medical team during the disease outbreak. The engineers were deemed essential for maintaining the ship's systems. The doctors were expendable. A wave of nausea washed over Maya. This wasn't just about algorithms and simulations. This was about real people, real lives, real choices, and Elon Musk was willing to sacrifice them all for his grand vision. Suddenly, her phone buzzed with an encrypted message from Sarah. They know. Get out now. Choosing a future. The live stream shimmered, reflecting the studio lights in the determined depths of Maya's eyes. Behind her, the Chun Industries logo throbbed with verdant light, a stark contrast to the steely ambition of Musk's enterprise. She drew a steadying breath, the delicate fragrance of jasmine, a gift from Priya, grounding her. Today, she was severing ties, a connection forged in youthful aspiration and ambition. Thank you for joining me. She began, her voice a surprising beacon of composure. As many of you are aware, I've been weighing opportunities with both SpaceX and Chun Industries. After considerable deliberation and witnessing the core principles of each organization, I've reached a decision that I will be joining Chun Industries. A collective intake of breath swept through the comments, a digital wave of astonishment. Rohan's avatar winked into existence, a simple heart beside his name. But distractions were a luxury she couldn't afford. This wasn't an easy choice, Maya continued, carefully calibrating her words. Both organizations are at the vanguard of scientific and technological progress. However, my moral compass guides me toward Chun Industries. Their dedication to sustainable innovation, equal access, and prioritizing human welfare resonates deeply with my own convictions that I firmly believe technology should uplift humanity, not subjugate it. She paused, letting her words resonate. She kept silent about Project Nightingale, the shadowy secrets she'd uncovered. Not yet. That would be ammunition for a later confrontation. Miles away, in a penthouse overlooking the stark Nevada landscape, Elon Musk watched the broadcast engulf his massive screen. His face, usually an impassive facade of optimism, twisted into a mask of pure rage. "That conniving little viper," he snarled, hurling his glass of kombucha against the pristine wall. The amber liquid splattered, a sticky testament to his incandescent fury. He stabbed at his phone, his fingers a blur across the glass. "Activate Nightingale Protocol," he commanded into the receiver, his voice laced with venom. "And ensure Sharma and Chun understand the price of disloyalty. I want their lives dissected, every hidden failing exposed, plastered across every media outlet. Destroy them." The smear campaign ignited within hours. Anonymous articles surfaced on fringe websites, casting aspersions on Maya's qualifications, her mental state, even her personal life. Fabricated tales depicted her as a disgruntled malcontent, a publicity hound, a radical extremist. Sarah Chun was painted as a heartless titan of industry, exploiting environmentalism for personal enrichment, a puppet master manipulating Maya's actions. Weaponized algorithms amplified the venomous narratives with surgical precision, silencing dissenting voices. Maya watched the digital assault unfold on her phone, a chilling dread coiling in her stomach. She'd anticipated a backlash, but the sheer magnitude and ferocity of the attack were staggering. Rohan burst in, his face creased with concern. "Maya, are you seeing this? It's absolute madness." "I expected something," she replied, striving for a confidence she didn't feel. "But I underestimated the depth of his influence." Priya, who had been quietly tending to dinner preparations, approached, her face a blend of fury and anxiety. She placed a reassuring hand on Maya's arm. "Don't let him intimidate you, Maya. You followed your conscience, and we're here for you, come what may." A fierce protectiveness sparked in Priya's normally gentle eyes, a side Maya rarely witnessed. "He thinks his money and power can break you. He clearly doesn't know the Sharma women." Rohan jumped in. "Exactly, Maya. He's just trying to scare you that we'll hit back, that we'll trace these articles, expose the lies." Maya mustered a wan smile. "Thanks, guys, that I really appreciate it." She knew that fighting back was a Herculean task, a modern David facing Goliath. But retreat was impossible. The ethical simulation, Sarah's warning, the insistent voice of her own integrity, all demanded action. Later that night, after Rohan had departed and Priya was lost in slumber, Maya sat alone in her room, her laptop screen casting an ethereal glow upon her face. The digital missiles kept flying, relentless and insidious. Doubts began to gnaw at her resolve, whispering insidious questions. Was she strong enough to endure this onslaught? Had she made the right choice? Was she endangering those she loved? She opened a fresh document and began to type. This was about something larger than herself, that IT was about the future, about the kind of world she yearned to inhabit, a world where technology served humankind, not the other way around, at a world where compassion and ethics weren't just empty slogans, but guiding principles. She would leverage her skills, her knowledge, her voice to forge that future, regardless of the personal cost. She closed her eyes, recalling Sarah Chen's steady, unwavering gaze. She remembered the stark difference between Musk's ruthless calculations and Sarah's humanitarian focus. That very distinction had led her here, to this crucible, and that difference was worth fighting for. She saved the document, now titled Project Nightingale. The truth, and a small, defiant smile played across her lips. The war had only just begun. The reckoning. The initial assault arrived as a digital deluge. Fabricated images, pilfered and invented, emails and faceless accusations inundated the web. Musk's PR juggernaut, operating under the ominous banner of Nightingale Protocol, was systematically dismantling Maya and Sarah Chun. But Maya, galvanized by her moral outrage and sharp mind, stood ready to counterattack. "He wants to wade into the muck? Fine," she declared to Rohan and Priya, her fingers dancing across the keyboard, code streams coalescing into a symphony of resistance. "We'll demonstrate what genuine manipulation looks like." Meanwhile, Sarah Chun remained a bastion of composure amidst the chaos. She confronted the allegations directly, her voice resolute during televised appearances. These assaults are designed as a smokescreen, diverting attention from the real issue. The moral implications of unchecked technological progress, she asserted, her gaze unwavering into the camera's eye. We refuse to be silenced. We will continue forging a future where technology empowers humanity, not the reverse. Maya channeled her energies into nullifying the disinformation campaign. Collaborating with Rohan, she conceived an AI-driven apparatus capable of spotting and flagging bogus news items, doctored visuals, and bot-spawned commentary. Priya, leveraging her social media acumen, utilized the tool to amplify opposing viewpoints, spotlighting Chun Industries' philanthropic endeavors and Maya's cutting-edge discoveries. Gradually, painstakingly, the current shifted, doubts regarding the veracity of the onslaught surfaced, revealing the coordinated machinations of the smear tactic. The hashtag I Stand With Maya gained global traction, fueled by authentic indignation and a burgeoning awareness of Musk's underhanded strategies. The pressure mounted. Within SpaceX, Dr. Alastair Finch grappled with his conscience that he'd been privy to the directive. He understood the orders originated directly from Musk. Sleep morphed into an unaffordable luxury, replaced by a persistent unease that threatened to overwhelm. One morning, Finch entered Musk's office unannounced. "I can't condone this any longer, Elon," he uttered, his voice shaky yet resolute. "This isn't justifiable. What you're perpetrating against Maya Sharma and Sarah Chun, it's reprehensible." Musk, entrenched behind his desk, remained impassive. "They double-crossed me, Alastair. They jeopardized my vision." "No, Elon," Finch retorted. "They questioned your principles, and that's not betrayal. It's accountability." He deposited a flash drive on the desk. Everything's contained there: the directive, the orders, the totality. Musk finally lifted his head, his eyes slits of anger. "You wouldn't." "I must," Finch affirmed, then departed. The following day, Dr. Alastair Finch offered public testimony before a Senate committee, producing incontrovertible proof of Musk's unscrupulous conduct. He dissected the Nightingale Protocol, exposing its singular aim to destroy the reputations of Maya Sharma and Sarah Chun. He presented the memo, detailing the explicit instructions Musk had imparted to his PR division. The repercussions were immediate and catastrophic. SpaceX's stock value plummeted. Sponsors dissolved their agreements. Politicians demanded investigations. The populace, once captivated by Musk's prophetic image, now perceived him for what he was, a heartless and vindictive autocrat. Within SpaceX headquarters, bedlam reigned. The board of directors summoned an emergency assembly, demanding explanations. Musk, undeterred, attempted to deflect responsibility, branding Finch a disgruntled subordinate, Chun a socialist sympathizer, and Maya a treacherous turncoat. But his pronouncements resonated falsely. The evidence was irrefutable. The board, buckling under the weight of investor and public censure, compelled Musk to relinquish his position as CEO, at least for the nonce. An impartial audit of SpaceX's ethical standards was initiated, and a new code of conduct, emphasizing transparency and responsibility, was enacted. Musk, isolated and humiliated, withdrew to his private island. He observed the news broadcasts with white-hot fury, witnessing his empire unravel. Before him, he had underestimated Maya Sharma. He had underestimated the cloud of truth and the tenacity of the human spirit. He roamed the expanse of his lavish living quarters, the breakers crashing against the shore, an incessant reminder of the tempest he had unleashed. He had fancied himself a savior, a visionary destined to pilot humanity toward the cosmos. Now, he was merely another fallen icon, his legacy sullied by avarice and overweening pride that he knew he had to evolve. But how? The question lingered in the atmosphere, heavy and unanswered. For the first time in recent memory, Elon Musk felt genuinely adrift. The reckoning had arrived, leaving him utterly shattered at a new legacy. The bitter aftertaste of Musk's failed character assassination attempt lingered, yet Maya refused to be defined by it. Instead, she alchemized that negativity into something constructive, enduring. Thus, the Sharma Foundation took shape, dedicated to discovering and fostering budding scientific geniuses from marginalized communities. Her vision, a future where groundbreaking ideas weren't exclusive to gilded halls, where innate talent wasn't suffocated by circumstance. The launch became a dizzying blur of press junkets, fundraising soirees, and marathon meetings. But Maya discovered solace in the selection process. Poring over applications, her spirit lifted with each tale of grit and raw intellect overcoming formidable obstacles. There was Aisha, a coding savant from a refugee camp, whose algorithms promised to revolutionize water purification, and David, a self-taught engineer hailing from rural Appalachia, who engineered a novel wind turbine from salvage materials. These were the minds she longed to cultivate, the pragmatic innovators who grasped the real-world repercussions of their endeavors. The foundation swiftly gained momentum, attracting not just crucial funding, but also invaluable mentorship from luminaries in science and engineering. Maya deliberately incorporated robust ethics training into the curriculum, underscoring the weighty responsibility inherent in wielding potent technologies. She understood, from harsh personal experience, the perils of unfettered ambition and the imperative to align innovation with core human values. Years dissolved into a rich mosaic of pioneering research, impactful community programs, and deeply moving success stories. Maya evolved into a sought-after voice in the global discourse on responsible AI, championing transparency, accountability, and inclusivity at every turn. She addressed the UN General Assembly, testified before congressional committees, and published extensively on the ethical quandaries posed by artificial intelligence. Her sphere of influence rippled outward, extending far beyond the confines of the scientific establishment, subtly reshaping public thinking and policy. Then came the Global Tech Summit in Geneva. Maya received an invitation to deliver the keynote, a singular honor underscoring her ascendant influence. As she refined her address, a disquieting premonition settled over her. She knew Musk would be present. He was a mere ghost of his former self. The brazen, self-assured CEO had morphed into a subdued figure, chastened by the scathing Senate investigations and the ensuing shareholder revolt that dethroned him from his corporate empire. He still drew glances, but they were laced with a kind of morbid curiosity, not reverence. Fate orchestrated their encounter during a coffee break. Maya found herself encircled by admirers, budding scientists eager to absorb her insights. Musk stood apart, cradling his coffee, his gaze lost in the tendrils of rising steam. Maya excused herself and approached him. "Elon," she said, her voice even and composed. He looked up, a flicker of recognition crossing his shadowed features. "Maya," he croaked, his voice rough-edged. "I've heard about your foundation. It's laudable." "Thank you," Maya replied. "I believe in the potential of investing in people, not simply in technology." An uncomfortable silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken words, lingering regrets, and roads not taken. "The Nightingale Protocol," Musk finally murmured, his eyes fixed on the floor. "It wasn't my proudest moment." "No," Maya concurred. "It wasn't. I craved to reshape existence," he went on, his voice scarcely audible. "I merely chose the wrong path." Maya paused, considering his words. "We all aspire to alter the world, Elon. The pivotal question is, what sort of world do we wish to fashion? And what sacrifice are we prepared to make to achieve it?" He finally lifted his gaze, his eyes holding a blend of remorse and reluctant respect. "You were right," he admitted, "about quite a few things. I can only hope you've gleaned something from it," Maya said softly. "I have," he replied, the brutal way. They stood in silence for a beat, acknowledging the deep crevasse that now separated them. Two individuals who had once shared a common vision, now occupying opposite ends of an ethical spectrum. "Best of luck, Maya," Musk said, extending a hand. Maya clasped it firmly. "And to you, Elon." As she turned away, Maya couldn't suppress a pang of melancholy. She had desperately wanted to believe in Musk, in his unbridled ambition and his promise of a brighter tomorrow. But ultimately, his arrogance had obscured the actual cost of his actions. Back on stage, preparing to deliver her keynote, Maya was suffused with a renewed feeling of purpose. She surveyed the assembly, a kaleidoscope of expectant faces, and began to speak. She emphasized the significance of empathy, of partnership, and of deploying technology to confront the world's most pressing problems. She spoke of the Sharma Foundation and the brilliant young minds it was nurturing. And she spoke of the legacy they would forge together, a legacy of innovation, compassion, and unwavering ethical integrity. Her voyage had been arduous. She had weathered hardship, betrayal, and relentless assaults on her reputation. But she had emerged resilient, more resolute than ever to create a world where technology was subservient to humanity. Not the inverse. As the applause reverberated around her, Maya smiled. She recognized that the battle for a better future was far from concluded. But she also knew she wasn't alone. She had a vibrant community of passionate, dedicated individuals at her side, ready to construct a new heritage, one meticulously crafted, ethical algorithm at a time.